This is At Home with Miss Joan, and I had some people to ask me, would I make a video of homemade biscuits? And I would give anything if I'd have shot this video when my brother was visiting during Christmas, because he asked me, he said, Joan, you teach me how to make biscuits. And we got in here in the kitchen and had the biggest time ever making homemade biscuits. If I can, I'll put a picture or two of him at the end of this so you can see him making biscuits. But anyway, let's get started. The first thing that I do is I grease my pan, and I turn my oven on 450, and then I grease my pan. You can see, man, this thing looks rough, but it'll really make some good biscuits. So I'm gonna just reach in here and grease it just like we do our cake pans. Just work it all over it like that. There we go. Now they won't stick, and they'll brown real good on the bottom, just like that. All right. So we greased our pan and got our oven on 450. They'll cook for 10 minutes once I put them in there. You set your clock by it. But okay, I use self-rising white lily flour because that's what my mama used. And I usually don't measure this stuff, but I thought that I would, so that you can have a recipe that'll probably make about 12 biscuits. So I'm going to use 2 cups of flour. And in that, I'm going to, Mama called it making a well. So just, see, I'm just making a hole in the middle right there to put my other goodies into it. Now, to do that, I'm going to add, I call it a heaping tablespoon of Crisco, or you can use shortening, another kind of shortening, but anyway. This is not what you call a measuring tablespoon, but here we go. See that? I'm going to drop it off in here. Now, what you do is you work this in real good into your flour. See, it's just a big clump right now into the middle. Now, some of you may have one of these pastry cutters. You can use the pastry cutter to, work the grease all the way in the flour. So some of the goodness will get all into every biscuit. But I just use a fork. I usually have one I can grab it real fast. And so you can use just a regular fork or one of these pastry cutters. And here we go. See, I'm just working that Crisco, is what I call it, into my flour. You can see that it's coming out in little balls in there. And that just spreads it out good. Right there. All right. You'll see that I use my hands sometimes I just use a spoon. All right. Now, once I get the Crisco in there, I add just because my mama did, okay? She put about 1/4 of a cup of what we call vegetable or Wesson oil. There it goes. Now, if you don't want to use this, you want to use just Crisco, you might have to put 2 tablespoons of Crisco in here, okay? That's the amount of oil that I'm going to use for my biscuits. See, I'm stirring it up. You see down in the bowl? Mm-hmm. All right, good. So we got 2 cups of flour, tablespoon heaping of Crisco, 1/4 cup of oil, and now it's time for our milk. Well, I like to use whole buttermilk. Now, I'll be honest, my favorite here is the Mayfield's whole cultured buttermilk, but any kind of whole buttermilk would do good. Now, you can make biscuits. You say, well, you don't ever buy buttermilk. You can use regular milk, canned milk, whatever you got, you can make biscuits with it. They might have a little different consistency, but I like the buttermilk the best, but any kind of milk you got, you can use it. Now, if you have the non-fat buttermilk, if I was you, I would bump it up with a tablespoon of sour cream. And I do that anyway. So here goes my 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk in here. And I'm just working it in. I'm kind of, if you'll notice, turning in the middle. That kind of works it all in. Or making my spoon stir up, kind of in the middle. See it going right there? Now we're going to start. Now, I noticed I did 2 heaping tablespoons cups of flour, so we may need a little more moisture here in a minute. But I'm going to add, this is my secret to my good biscuits, I put a tablespoon of sour cream in them. And what that does is, that adds to the texture of this wonderful buttermilk. It just makes it even creamier. So, that's what I'm doing. Okay, you see how that's coming out in a I didn't even use my hands. Now you can, and I do a lot. But see, with a good glass bowl like this, it seems like it don't stick to the sides. You can work in all your flour. I watched Miss Brenda on her cooking show, and she leaves a lot of flour in there for the next time. I don't. Everything that goes in my bowl is ready for my biscuits. Now see how that made a good dough? Can you get it, Miss Camera Lady? All right. Then I'm gonna set that aside and try to make us a place here. I usually make my biscuits right here. And this is where I keep everything about the biscuits, flour and oil and everything is down here. And my rolling pin and everything. So, but today, because Camera Lady says I need to be looking at y'all, I'm gonna try to make them backwards over here on this kitchen table. I'm gonna clean this out a little spot here. Okay, you can flour your bar. I use this because my mother, when I got married, she gave me what she called a biscuit cloth, a dough cloth. And you made your pie shells and your biscuits and everything on this. So that's how old this little piece of cloth is. You might recognize the pattern from back in the 70s. But anyway, there it is. And I'm going to try to, you see that I rolled it up. I just made biscuits yesterday, the day before, I can't remember. And the secret is to have you a surface, whether it's your countertop or you've cut you a cloth or you've got a nice piece of granite or something to lay it on. But watch. I'm just having me a floured surface here. See it? Okay. Now I'm going to what I call dump out my dough. Got it? I'm going to keep my hands real floured, okay? And I'm going to start patting. I'm going to work all of this together. See it? Turn it. I'm taking the outside and folding it in. I'm taking the outside and folding it in. See me? And then turn it over. See me turn it over? A little bit too much flour on there, but I can always dust some of it off. All right, here is this. Now, I start pressing it from the inside out. See me? You don't have to have one of these rolling pins. This is an old Tupperware one from the 70s. I don't know if they still make them. Tell you what, if you don't, you want to practice making biscuits, just get you a glass out of the cabinet and do the same thing. Flour it up real good and roll it just like this. See, you can make biscuits out of anything. You don't even have to cut them out. You can just roll them out and put them on the pan. But here we go. Here's mine for today. Preacher likes his real thin, okay? I like mine a little thicker than he does. You can't get them thin enough for Preacher, okay? You can barely get a knife through them and you butter them, and that's how he likes them, thin and crunchy. So I don't know how these is going to turn out. But anyway, now this is an old coconut can. I got me get you just a can, or you may have a fancy biscuit cutter, but Law, I've been cutting this forever. I don't even know if you can buy coconut in a can anymore, okay? And I'm just flouring it over here to the side, see me? And cutting a biscuit. Flouring it over here to the side and cutting a biscuit, okay? And then I'm going to take these, I'm going to put them here. On my pan. You get a shot of that? Okay. Now if you got any left, you got to act real quick because your dough starts getting thick the more you roll it out. So that's what Mama always told me. Or getting coarse, I guess is the word. So here I have a little bit left. I'm going to roll from the inside. See me pushing it out? And cut them. Alright. Well, we got so far. I can't even. 1, 2, 3, 9, 10. Alright. So usually I get 12 out here. I call this a hoe cake. I can just take this last one and ball it up, and I usually just stick it right here. See it? Or I could have rolled it out and cut it and probably got 2 more biscuits out of it. But this is it, girls and boys. You bake these for 10 minutes on 450, and then I stop it and I put it on broil for just a minute or 2. And oh, let me tell you what I do. When 10 minutes is up and I go to broil them because I might not need a little browning on the top, this is what I do. I nearly burnt my kitchen down one time because the runoff left the stove on. So I sing the whole time my broiler's on ever. And a tune of Old Christmas Tree, and I'm going to sing it to you, okay? It is the broiler's on, the broiler's on, the broiler's on, Miss Joan. The broiler's on, the broiler's on, the broiler's on, Miss Joan. The broiler's on, the broiler's on, the broiler's on, Miss Joan. Now, I don't have all of you singing that while your broiler's on. You'll never burn anything. You'll never go out of the kitchen with your broiler on. But things are going in the oven, and I'll let you know what they look like in 10 minutes. Thank y'all. At home, Miss Joan. All right, she's ready, she says. Here they are, girls, boys. That was 10 minutes. I set my clock. And I switched it to broil and sung my little song. And I think they broiled for 1.5 minutes. And they turned out this brown right here. This whole cake's mine, of course. I get to count it as just one biscuit, and it's really 2 or 3. But anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to butter them. I always have some melted butter. Put it on there. We're going to butter all these. We're going to have some scrambled eggs and some bacon with ours and some good old jelly on our butter biscuits and honey. And I did teach y'all on another video how to make sausage gravy. If you want to look that up, you could add that to this. And then the reason I can get these done so quick, which is mix them up in about 5 or 6 minutes and put them in the oven for 10. And that is quicker than you can go through the line at the fast food restaurant and get you a biscuit. You can have them done at home. And also, the reason is I keep my kitchen organized. It may not look it right now, but there is a kitchen organizing video, one of the first ones I made. If you want to look at it, you can see how I keep everything to make biscuits really close by so you can get them ready in a matter of minutes. Thank y'all for tuning in this morning to At Home with Miss Joan.